Two nuns and a mother superior die and go to heaven. And St. Peter's there, and he says, "Well, look, before I can let you in, I've got because you're nuns, and as a mother superior as well. I've got to ask you a question. And don't worry, they're very, very easy. Okay, so he says to the first nun, where was Jesus born? She said, Bethlehem. He's correct. Gates open and in she walks, you see. He says to the next nun, where were Adam and Eve? And she said, oh, they were in the Garden of Eden. Correct. She said, oh, well, that's easy. So gates open and in she walks. Then he comes to the Mother Superior and he says, well, because you're Mother Superior, the question's got to be a little bit more difficult. So she says, oh, okay then. And he said, well, what did Eve say when she first met Adam? And the Mother Superior thought, she said, wow, she said, that's a hard one. He said, correct. And then she walks. Good evening and welcome to another exciting show. And tonight we've got a range of very exciting guests, as you can see. We've got Fred the pot plant. And over to you, Fred, what do you think? No, he's a bit silent at the moment. He's having an affair with Daisy, the other pot plant. So, I think he's in love. And now what's happened, you see, it's been a bit of a mucking fuddle. I'm sorry, I've got my worms in a bit of a fuddle tonight. I was hoping two guests to come on, but things have happened. They're not on. So you've got me. So the best drop of audience there. Oh no, not him. So I'll try and refrain from the fart gags, and I'll promise to say pardon if I do drop a accidental dolly cart. So there we go. We've also got Keir Starmer on tonight. Well, not actually him. Something that represents him. It's a toilet roll. So what do you think, Keir? No, nothing yet. Well, at least when you come to think about it, what's the difference between Keir Starmer and a toilet roll? I mean, at least a toilet roll serves a useful purpose where he really doesn't. So, but you see right through a toilet roll, yeah, you can see the hole in the other side. So that's right. So if you want any questions to Keir Starmer or the toilet roll, just, that's it. Anyway, before I go any further, got some announcements to make. Dawn will be on the show soon. And also, our bowler hat farmer will be back as well very, very soon. And if you're around tomorrow night in Stansted Abbots, here it is, plug, you'll be able to meet not only John, but I may be there as well, because John Hamer will be talking at Stansted Abbots at the Red Lion. Well, it's actually a Red Lion public house. It's a pub. And that's at 7:00, and it's quite easy to find because Stansted Abbots, it's just one high street. It's at the end of the high street. And so if you want to meet John or myself, I mean, I won't be speaking. I'll be sort of sitting back in the background, but you might notice me there. So, I might even crack the constipated figure gag. You never know, you see. So there we are. So make a note of that. So I'll be there tomorrow night. I hope to be there tomorrow night at 7:00, and that is the Red Lion pub in Stansted Abbots. So there we are. So, and if you want any further details, you can actually look on my Telegram channel. It's advertised on there as well. Plug, which can be seen. No, not in Big Crutch, but down below in the details. And just hang on, there. Hang on, I got pointed right there. That's it, along there. You see. And thank you for the many people. But a few more people join Telegram, and also a lot more people join the Fockham Hall the Facebook group. So thank you very much for everybody's joined both. So it's much appreciated. And tell your friends, it makes it even exciting. And of course, I can say a lot more on Telegram than I can on Facebook. And people say, oh, I haven't seen you post on Facebook. Well, I post in the group. I don't generally post outside the group, except for promoting this show. So have a quick look in chat, and we got on with the show. And as I say, it's a bit different from the advertised show because we're going to was going to talk about cryptozoology, which I know very little about, and also ghosts, which I'm all right there, UFOs, okay there. But our guest that was due on to talk about cryptozoology, well, I don't know what's happened. Right, so as I go into comments, shall we? Oh, here we go. We've got, well, funny enough, Matt was the first on. He's the Fogham ambassador to Southwest London. Here at 7:15. That's keenness. I'm showing favouritism now, and it's dark. That's right. I noticed it got really dark early tonight. Now, what is it? It's the 15th, 16th. What date is it today? Oh, 15th of July. And normally it's quite light in the evenings. Outside, it's well, what's that? It's almost dark. What's happened? It's usually light this time at night, and we've had dark clouds most of the afternoon. So they're really playing around with the weather. And I've noticed it's either it's fine in the morning and gloomy in the afternoon, or the other way around. Gloomy in the morning and fine in the afternoon. But when I wake up in the morning, it's a nice, really blue sky with chemtrails crisscrossing like noughts and crosses everywhere. And then it generally about 11 or 12ish, the trails start to grow out into like a sort of a big smog, and in the afternoon it gets gloomier and gloomier. And also, I've never ever worn a pullover in July. As long as all the time I've been on this earth, I've never worn a pullover in July. It's the first time, not today, but I think it was yesterday, the day before. It was not. It was sort of on the colder side of cool. It wasn't necessarily cold, but it was. It felt like sort of March, April time. They are definitely sodding around with it, weather. And Matt says, my mum said I can only stay up if there isn't any agricultural language. From Eric tonight. No, I reserve words like tit and bum to my radio show, which is on Radio Soapbox, which is every Sunday on my Rumble channel. Again, advertised down here, not in my crutch, but in the comments. Sorry, in the what would they call it? Thingamabob below, anyway. The description. That's the word I'm looking for. And YouTube blocked one of my answers to Matt, and it says, seriously, it's in Reddit. It says, YouTube rejected your comment. This usually means they think it's spam. But I don't eat spam. I haven't eaten spam for years. Spam. Try changing it a bit. Soppy sods. I don't know. But, I mean, does it because I didn't have chips with my spam? I don't know. Strange. And we got evening all. Hope everyone is well. And Mark Anthony, thanks, Kat. And good evening, everyone. Essex. Looking forward to the show. So am I. And we got here. Evening, one and all. It's Krista Gardner, and I do hope your missus, your wife is improving and getting better. I'll be sending some healing thoughts to Norfolk. And we got Stephen Truth Seeker. Hello, Stephen Truth Seeker. And we got what we got here. We've got 3 billion. Now this is Redditor Skepfuck says 3 billion a year to UK rain. Really? Now it says here. Is UKI just the new NATO HQ? It could be, couldn't it? Yes. Now, friends, it's wartime, and our guest and our two contenders are Ukraine and the other nasty people who we're not allowed to talk about. Oh, I don't know. I actually don't. I think it. I'll be straight with you. They're hyping it up, and anything that's hyped up in the media generally doesn't happen. So I'll keep my fingers crossed, that fungus or fingers crossed that it'll just fizzle out to nothing. And I really hope no more people die in that war. It's absolute waste of life. Because remember, all wars are fought by forgotten heroes for lost causes. Now, evening, Chris. Fred the plant. Oh yeah, it's off Fred there, and everyone else. It bloody scare the shits out of me if Fred the plant answered, wouldn't it? Looking forward to another entertaining show. Thanks, DJ Flipped and Mark Anthony. Evening all. Camera. Hello everyone. Hope you're all good. Hello, Krista Gardner. Hope you and your good wife are coping. Bless your hearts. Yes, I actually back that as well. Cat Holly says shrouded skies. Shrouded skies. Very blue mornings. Yes, early on. Then by 8 it is another sky curtain. Yes, it's absolutely unbelievable, and people still do not notice it. So look at that. Oh, chemtrail. No, I say chemtrails. I go, no, they're vapor trails. Oh, bloody hell. I know the difference between a vapor trail and a chemtrail. That's it. Now, pretty dark in Norfolk, Neil. It was okay until 3. Then the heavens opened. Early finish for me today. Yeah, it drizzled a bit this afternoon, but it's almost dark, fully dark outside. And this time yesterday, I don't think it was, no. And same here in North Leeds. This is Hereditors Get Fucked. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's uncanny. Because I know that up in Leeds, you have slightly more by a couple of minutes light than we do down south. Because it's the way the earth is if you're not a flat earth enthusiast, Hiya, guys. Hi, Chris. No Ben. No, and no Bill either. Who's going to have Bill and Ben? Oh, no, sorry. Real burn the flower pot, Ben. Let me sit here. I've not had a salad this year. Laugh out loud. Hatchy. Hi all. Yes, it's incredible, isn't it? Louise, at least the bad weather keeps the foreigners away. It's a bit like flies, isn't it? What happens to flies and foreigners in the winter? We just don't know, do we? What's a light year? The same as a regular year, but with less calories. I like that one. From That's Life, but not as we know it. And Nathan, is it Lucius? How do you like it pronounced? I always pronounce it bloody wrong. I'm probably pissing him off with it. It's like perpetual effing winter here in the middle of summer. Makes me really damn angry. It wouldn't be so bad if it was natural, but it ain't. 9 days straight, no sun. Yeah. It's also, if you suffer from SAD, seasonally adjusted depression, it really gets to you after a while. It's like winter, summer, you're fine because you've got more light. But this lack of light is really driving me bonkers. It really is. Now, it's dark in Southampton. Yeah. Do you think it's weird? I think it's bloody weird. It really is. It's Cat Holly says steroidal spraying over cities. Yes, that's right. And Krista Gardner says nothing is growing as it should. And winter flowering plants are going into flower again in July. My begonia, I think you can get tablets for that, can't you, Chris? Has been in flowering all through June. And I guess your case comes up next week, does it? Try changing your trousers. That might help. But does your neighbour say, oh, Chris's begonia? Oh, it's really weird, it is. I saw him the other day flashing his begonia in his garden. Talk about plants, of course. But yeah, and I'll tell you what I've noticed. I've got some celery and what else have I got? Celery and tomato, not tomato, but cabbage. They're bolting. They're going to seed very, very quickly, which is a bit weird, we got Hereditors Get Fucked says Leeds, Bradford Flight Path. Yes, they're spraying like buggery over there. Now, to be clear, a foreigner is anyone not from Norfolk. No, it's anybody that's not part of the Fockham Hall, the country of Fockham Hall. That's a foreigner, you see. So where I am, I'm surrounded by foreigners because I'm the only Fockham Hall inhabitant where I am. But of course, we're spreading around the world, you know. So, and we got sun. Catalyst. Sun is blocked every day. Yes, it is. Yes, it's absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, I put a little star on that. There we are. And we go back to chat. So, thank you everybody in chat. Now, last night I did a show on Soapbox Radio, and it's also on my Rumble channel with Steve, and he's survivalist Steve, and we was talking about again, if you've tuned in to watch about cryptozoology, I know a little about it. So I'm, shall we say, doing it off the top of my head tonight, because the guests, as I say, will be back on a later date to talk about cryptozoology. But I can dip into a little bit about ghosts and UFOs and things like that, and general chit chat, of course. And also, I was going to say something about Trump. And the year-old thing, you know, I'm suspicious of everything on the mainstream news. I don't know whether you are, but I just find it's a bit odd. You know, they talk about the deep state, might be deep throat. You never know. It might be Linda Lovelace. I'm going back a bit there, aren't I? Yeah, perhaps it's a deep throat. That's what's done it. You know. It could have been Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Man, who knows? But you know, to me, mainstream media is nothing more than a pantomime, because when you think of who owns the media, it's a family, Rothschilds, they own Reuters. And where do the mainstream get their news from? Reuters. So to me, it's just a pantomime. And they're presenting things to you to give you, shall we say, to give 2 points, two sort of opinions, so one lot can fight against the other one. And it's very strange, you know, as I said yesterday on the show. By the way, just at 8 o'clock, we had a lot of competition because Sunday nights there's a lot of videos going out on YouTube. Plus, it was football. I didn't know that because I don't follow any sport at all. And so we had the footballers people, but we did all right, you know, even though there's football and there's a lot of competition, we were there. And I was saying, you know, about this photograph of Trump with his ear hole with tomato sauce coming down from it, and the flag behind him, and all that. That's a sort of iconic photograph, isn't it? And there's a lot of people who said, I can see this on students' T-shirts and caps, and that's going to be a famous photo. I mean, it wasn't posed, was it? I don't know. The information I got is very fragmented. I've got very little information about it. And the bloke apparently, poor soul's dead now. And if the person's mentally or has got a problem or anything like that, it's easy to feel anger to people that take pot shots and things, but you never know. He could be a sort of Manchurian candidate. He could have actually been hypnotized into doing it. We just do not know. And if he is of Oriental descent, especially Japanese, I've seen most of the John Wayne war films, and the Japanese during World War II are terrible bleeding shots. They missed almost every time. And if they did hit a GI on a Hollywood film, they hit them in a decent place. You know, it's always sort of in the chest, like oh, like that. I mean, they wouldn't be hitting the ghoulies or something like that. They would always hit. The Japanese were very good like that. They'd always shoot people in a very decent place, and then he shot selected people so they could actually do a very good dying scene. So you never know. He could be of Japanese descent. That's why he was a rotten shot. You just don't know, you see. But the other thing is that I think it's very similar to the Kennedy assassination. It wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald, because they actually got, I saw a documentary once where they got a crack shot, one of the best, and he'd been in the American Army and all that. they gave him a replica of Lee Harvey Oswald's gun that he supposed to have shot with, and this bloke practiced with it and really got good with it. And then they had a car went the same speed as Kennedy's car, and they got the same window, and the bloke got one shot in and missed. So it's near impossible apparently for him to and he was a patsy. And I got a funny feeling that this person that took a pot shot at Trump might have been hypnotized into doing it, because a lot of these people, when they're interviewed, they can't even remember doing it. They're sort of in like a trance-like state. That happens a lot. I know that Richard D. Hall, he looked into that quite a bit. And some people have asked, is he going to be a guest on my show? I don't know. I think that it'd be a good idea for him to get the court case over with first, and then, because if I was in his position, I don't think I'd want to speak on my show if I was at a court case coming up or anything like that. But anyway, what I was going to say about, I can't talk about cryptozoology. I know very little about it, about strange creatures and Bigfoot and things like that. Although there are sightings in the Lee Valley near where I live, and I often go cycling in the Lee Valley, and often it's very big wooded area, and I've often cycled for several miles without seeing the soul, totally on my own. And last time I did that, this was I think a couple of weeks ago, I was cycling along, and in fact I was on my way to Miles's place in Waltham Abbey. I was cycling along and I was thinking, if there was a Bigfoot here and he came out, unless I photographed it, nobody would believe me, would they? You know, he's slightly on my bike. But no, I actually think that there is something in that. I really do believe that. And also, what I've been talking about quite a bit, and this was on, I think it was last night's show, and that is, I do believe that there are people that I would call they're, I won't go so far as say psychopaths. That they are not quite of this planet. That's the only way I can put it. They sort of go. And I first noticed this in the 1980s. People that were sort of a bit like Keir Starmer. You know, they look as if they'd just been dug up that morning, had to be warmed up. Sort of zero personality. And I remember I worked with a chap who had zero personality, and similar to psychopaths, they seem to have the ability to hypnotize people. And I mean, let's call him Les, right? And it was always a lad, isn't he? And they're always the same. They've got piggy eyes and high cheekbones and red cheeks, and they look straight through you with hardly staring, like that. And, you know, you'd say something like, good morning, and they look at you as if they've just been touched up. So, and I remember it was really odd. I was working in this office, and this Les was permanent. I was freelance, so, you know, I wasn't to do with permanent staff. But he could get away with the utmost in ignorance. I mean, there was somebody leaving, so everybody went down the pub, and I was invited. And I'm not to get boozer, but I went there just to be friendly, because, you know, when you're freelance bloke, you got to be sort of, you got to keep your nose clean and sort of get on with everybody. And it was my turn to buy some drinks, so I said to this Les, I said, "Oh, what would you like to drink?" So I said, sorry, what would you like to drink? Did you hear what I said? He just pointed to the person that drinking. So I said, do you want a Guinness? Just did that. Got a Guinness for him. He smashed it out of my hand. Never said thank you. No, nothing like that. Then barged everybody else out of the way to find the best seat, sat down, and just commandeered the seat. And they said, I thought, how rude. And people say, oh, that's his way. That's his way. Other people wouldn't get away with it. And I remember at a meeting, we were having a meeting there, and why he was in there, I do not know. And he was sitting there, you know, with piggy eyes and a mutant. That's what I call them. They're mutants. This bloke's a mutant. And it wasn't shyness. it could be termed as ignorance. I'm not quite sure what you would call it, but it was not of this world. And they sent out to get some sandwiches, and it was on the firm, so I was happy enough. So I'm sitting there, and sandwiches, waitresses come in to the meeting room, put the sandwiches there, and put lovely thermos flask with hot water for coffee, tea, and it was a big spread. And this Les just reaches straight across, grabs all the best sandwiches, piles his plate up like this, then sits back. And they go, oh, he's a lad, and he gets the best sandwiches. Whoa. And I'm thinking, rude git. Didn't his mummy or daddy ever tell him to be a little bit more respectful? What a rude bastard. So he's stuffing these sandwiches in his mouth that doesn't say anything. Then he bashes sort of people out of the way to get his best tea, drink his tea like this. Then he starts the farts. I'm sitting there thinking, and people are sort of talking away and they're saying, oh, else, no, about this design, do you think we could... I get the giggles. But it was like a sort of... It was irritating. And I was once in... I can't remember what it was, but everybody's at the office. And... there's just him and me. He's the other side of the office. I'm there. Doesn't say a word. So I'm working away. He comes over. And drawing instruments are quite expensive. And he just doesn't say, do you mind if I borrow this? And that's a gold rule. You don't really borrow other people's equipment. And he came over, and I can't remember what it was now, but it was a delicate piece of instrument, drawing instrument. He grabbed hold of it. I said, excuse me, I'm using that. He just throws it straight back. And just walks off. How does a person like that survive? How does a mutant survive? Has anybody else worked with a mutant or had a mutant that they've dealt with? And there seemed to be in the late 80s, early 90s, this outbreak of mutants. And of course, I think Keir Starmer is a mutant. When you look at him and a mannequin dummy, there's very little. He's got zero personality. And again, am I the only one that's ever dealt with mutants like this? And why is it there's only a few people notice them? Everybody else was, oh, he's all right, oh, he's a lad. And how did that person survive? How did they get the job? They had to be interviewed. Did they just sort of sit there going? This bloke had lots of qualifications because he had an incredible memory, but would only speak if, it was like as if he had to pay £100 per word. So every word, and it would stop. So you'd say, if you asked him a technical question, you say, excuse me, have you got such a drawing? And he'd go, sorry, did you hear me? Well, have you got it? So I did what he did, stare, and he'd stare, and he could just stare like this, and I just couldn't. And you'd sort of walk away and think, what the bleeding hell's the matter with him? How does he survive? How do these people survive? And I think that breed has got into government. I think they've got into civil service. I think they've edged their way into all areas of the planet. I really do believe that. And I think they're the generation that had a lot of when they're babies. And they're also the first generation, I think, that were brought up in nurseries. Because the generation, my mother was at home, was always there when I came home. I wasn't put in a nursery, and I wasn't brought up by someone else. And I'm wondering whether it's something to do with this sort of nursery mentality, because it's natural for a mother to bond with a child from an early age up to the age of about 7. So, and that's a very, I know very little about childcare, but the fact is, it's you look at tribes and things like that, the baby is with the mother. But nowadays, the mother has a career, the baby's just dumped into a nursery, and the mother has a career. So they're not bonding with their mothers in a natural way. They're bonding with strangers, which must make a big difference to their mentality and everything. I'm not saying everybody's a mutant that's brought up in a nursery, And I mean, I've worked with chaps who went through public school, and I'd say the overall majority of them were seeing psychiatrists. There was something, they admitted it though, I only said it, that they had psychiatric problems. Whether I assume from their public school, I don't know. Anyway, let's have a quick look in chat, see what people have said, see if there's got any comments about this. Now we got here, oh blimey, we've got a hell of a lot in chat here. That's good. This is DJ Flip. Do you remember during Divock, the landlord throwing Starmer out of his pub? Yeah, I remember that. Starmer had a blank expression though through the whole incident. Psycho. Yeah, that sort of. They're kind of not of this world. You know, the lights are on, but there's no one home. You know, kind of not the full picnic set. Sort of. But they survive. How the bloody hell do they survive? I mean, it's just unbelievable. I've seen aliens. I've seen Bigfoot. Have you really? This is life. That's life, but not as we know it. I've even fed a few fish to the Loch Ness Monster, but I still have never seen a BMW driver use his turn signals. That's right. Yes, that could be the top tip tonight. BMW drivers, and also transit van drivers. I don't know, some of them do. Why not use their indicators? You see, people know where the bleeding hell you're going then. And also taxi drivers. They sort of drive along. I mean, where I live, there's not that many. I don't really see any taxis, but you do get a lot of mini cabs. And they're driving along. And the best one I saw was no U-turn on dual carriageway, and he does the U-turn. Yes. Now, Krista Garner, Louise, he has 2 Labradoodles. I buried 5 muntjac and numerous rabbits in the last year. Also a couple of pigeons. Still, they keep coming. Well, where I live, they just breathe heavy, you know. I mean, sorry, it's a terrible joke, that isn't it? Camera, yes, I would say that about BMWs. Yes. And someone said about people with red cars. I've got 2 red cars, cheeky sods. I sort of went through with my cars. I used to have a sedan, a Nissan sedan, a 2-door sedan, and that was silver. I had a sort of a thing about silver cars at one time. I used to like the colour silver. And then I sort of gone through this red period of liking red cars. But with the smart car, that looks even more noddy with it's sort of red and black and so on. And all I need is a pointed hat and a goofy tee, and I can sit there going. Right. Now it's just this is Nathan says, Christopher, you know what? That's a good way to keep TV license goons, canvassers and JWs away. Caution, landmines in operation. Enter at own risk. That's a good one, isn't it? I've often thought, if I had a van, I'd put danger snakes in transit and then leave a sort of like a plastic one on the passenger seat. That's not people breaking in, wouldn't it? Now it says, have you heard about the Italian Bigfoot? Hang on, that's life, not as we know it. The spaghetti. Oh, the spaghetti. Now, what we got here? Hang on, I've got to go back to where I was before. Where am I? Always a lot. There we go. Now, this is Nathan. By the way, it's absolutely hissing. I didn't say pissing because that's rude. With rain outside, you can probably hear it. Absolutely hammering it down. Nathan, is it Lucius? I think it's Lucius. He's probably sitting there saying the soppy bastard. He's still getting it wrong. I suffer from seasonally affected disorder. So do I, mate. I know what you're going through. using 2 UV fly zappers to keep me going. Yeah, it's not good. I know that, and it's, they say it's something to do with lack of light. I don't know, but I tell you, I'd like to, if I was a multi-millionaire, I think I'd disappear for 6 months to the southern hemisphere when it's winter, because this country, well, I used to say it's nice in the spring and summer and the early autumn, but for the rest of the year, forget it, you know. Now it says here, camera says, Chris the Gardener, I've got corn starting to show. You can get plasters for that, but the plants aren't even 2 foot tall. Yeah, my tomatoes, that they're giving up the sort of, you know, and but I've been chitting my potatoes. That's with a CH. I've been chitting around the house a lot with my potatoes, of course, and I still haven't planted them for 2 reasons. One, it's hissing. That's hissing, not pissing, because that's rude. With rain, plus I'm a lazy bastard. So there we go. Stephen Truthseeker says it's all kicking off in Ireland. Is it? I hope so. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Camera, we're growing old disgracefully. Yes, that's right. No, Nathan, it's the hottest July on record. Yeah, that's right. It's the hottest. I think it's the driest as well. I think we've got a drought, haven't we? They'll probably have a hosepipe ban soon, because it's the hottest and driest since records began, which was, I think, 3 o'clock yesterday, wasn't it? Right. Now we've got the why. This is life as we know it. Sorry, that's life, but not as we know it. Why did the people not like the restaurant on the moon? Because there was no atmosphere. Does anybody want to hear the constipated vicar gag to save poor sods that might go along to that thing tomorrow night, hearing it for a second time tomorrow night? I might mention it later. You never know. This constipated vicar gag. It's sunny in Orlando. Well, look, I'll tell you what we do. We'll come over and nick some of your sun. You can have some of our rain. David K. Sunny Orlando. Yeah, you lucky sod. Have you ever been to England? It sometimes doesn't rain here. Now it says, begonia, not begonia. My begonias are in flower. Are they really? But they should be. Begonia flowers in, sorry, but they should be. Begonia usually flowers in January, does it? Hatchy says, dropping trousers usually involves a toilet roll. I was going to say about Keir Starmer, Joe. No, better not. He's got better. He's got better lawyers, I think. So there we go. Now, Louise, I've had a few carrots, some peas. We don't want peas around the garden, you know. It attracts the flies, and spuds, but not much else. Yeah, I used to get surprise peas, the frozen ones. I mean, you know, but yes, it makes terrible stains on your trousers. The frozen peas, I mean. That show last night seems really good. I'm only 15 minutes in, but excellent so far. Thank you very much. Oh, please watch it after this show. I missed last night's show. I would say detention and lines for you then. I mean, oh dear, you know. Then we got here pantomime, yes, and read Donald Dump. QAnon lot are all bloody excited again. Seems like a setup to me. It does to me. And last night, Survival Steve, was explaining about QAnon and how it's linked to satanic stuff. And we're talking about things we can't talk about on YouTube. And we started off, I intended it to be a radio show, because it's a radio show every Sunday. But Steve said, why don't we do radio? Why don't we do video as well? So I said, all right then. So I went on there. Camera. We got here. Cryptozoology, that's better than nothing, hun. The deer has been eating my tomatoes and lettuces. I've had to hide them on the trampoline. How about that? Doing, doing, doing. Now, I think we're talking about Trumpy trousers. Yeah, must it be sad to have a surname that in England means flatulence? Donald Flatulence, because to have a Trump was a fart. Oh, I've just had a Trump. Seriously, that was a name for flatulence. So it's a bit unfortunate. I wonder if he's ragged at school. Total staging. Check out Joachim Bartol's footage on Facebook. And the one supposed to have done the deed was in an ad 2 years ago. That's right. Crisis actors at the ready. Yes, I can just imagine them doing the crisis acting if they're going to have a Third World War fake outrage, okay, lovey, this feminine director. Okay, loves, now, corpses, stop giggling, okay? Now, Rita, I want you to come in. You've lost your baby, right? And we pan around the camera. There's the smoking pile. There's the teddy bear. There's the child show. Action. Oh, look. Please stop giggling, corpses. We've been paid a lot of money by the government for these films. Yeah, I can just imagine that. And people would believe such a full face. Well, talking about such a false, absolute false flag. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Absolutely fake stage political event. That Trump thing was with fake blood and everything. Yes, isn't it amazing how he was pictured like this with the American flag just right? I mean, do you know that famous World War II photograph of those troops lifting up the American Stars and Stripes flag on a Pacific island? Well, as I said last night, I know I'm repeating myself. I think you know this boring git, but for those of you that didn't see last night's show, shame on you. They said the photographer initially said he turned around and clicked his camera, bang, and there it was. But later on, it said that that was set up, that was posed, and they had several attempts to get it right. And I think the Japanese were long gone by the time they took that photograph. So, yes, it was the shit of the bull. Here we go. Now we've got here. Where are we? Camera says, yes, definitely worth a watch. Yes. And I clean my teeth specially for that as well. So for that show. Yeah, the whole thing seems off, Chris. This is Nathan. I'm not even sure that Trumpster is behind this one. I think either way, I sure think he will get re-elected. I do. People never learn. That's right. That's right. And I can actually see his flock because it's like a cult. They'll be there going with pictures of him going. I mean, what an iconic photograph. What an iconic. I'm sorry, pictures that are taken like that. I mean, look at that bloke in Tiananmen Square. I know that word I can't pronounce. With the white. Oh, by the way, do you hear the thunder just then? It's thunder. With those white cloths, or white handkerchiefs in front of the tanks. Now that was a bit blurred. It was taken from a distance, but anybody could have taken it. And there is one photograph that's famous of the bloke being shot like this. I think it's taken in the Spanish Civil War, but they're very, very rare. And I think that was just too, I don't know, it just looked too fake to me. I don't know. But Louise, this is Krista Gardner. I grew some cosmos from seed from one of my customers. I put them in for him last Wednesday. I went back there on Friday, and the rabbits had chewed the tops off them. Ah, poor little bunnies. But look on the bright side, Chris. At least you've fed some hungry rabbits. So you've got to look on the bright side. You've done your bit for the RSPCA. Now, camera says the man who is the suspect made a Black Rock video. I saw that at some point over the last few years. Forgive me not remembering the name. Yeah, I saw that video. Yeah, it's yes. And was it Lone Wolf again? Yeah, yeah. It's always got the same run low down, hasn't it? I mean, look at the bloke who shot Ronald Reagan. Apparently, he didn't remember it happening. He just doesn't remember doing it. And you can get hypnotized to do things like that, you know. I think they got it down to a fine art. Nathan, I don't think the masses will ever learn. They don't want to, mate. Ignorance is bliss, as they say. Yes. This is Nathan. Apparently, he is also a Scottish seventh month evangelist. Think about it. Who voted Republican. Go figure. Thanks for the info. Yes. If you're thinking, 7 month evangelist, now you've got to think that one through. We'll say Jehovah's Witness. Krista Garner, that pesky wabbit, not funny though, but the animals need to eat too. Yeah, mind you, you can then eat the rabbit, can't you? You have to wabbit. Krista Garner, quite right, mate. I've lost all hope in humanity. Seems they love their servitude and don't want to question as it causes discomfort. That's right. Yes. And there's still people taking the old, you know, Chris, be careful. E.T. took, this is Hachi, took off on a push bike. Wear your cycle clips and carry a toilet roll. Yes, that's right. Well, not only cycle clips, you see, I'm old school cyclist, you see. So it's flat cap, pipe. No, I don't smoke a pipe. And, you know, old baggy trousers and cycle clips. No, I don't look like that actually. But talking about these mutants, people are in a world of their own. And I just want to take you back to, this was last year, and I was on my racing bike, and I was going L for leather on my racing bike, as you can see in this short piece of film. And there was a woman walking along that was completely oblivious to anything around her. And I'll just show this short clip, if I can find the bloody thing. Where is it? Here it is. And here we go. Now, I was, as I say, I was on my bike and I wasn't hanging about. I could have run her over. You know, I mean, I could have been the sort of local rapist or something like that. I mean, it was only me and her walking along. Well, she was walking. I was going like bat out of hell. But you know, but totally oblivious to you know everything. I don't know. The other thing, back to comments. Where are we? Here we go. The other thing I was going to talk about is how we're being ripped off with planned obsolescence. Now, as you know, keep this to yourself, but it's a very embarrassing thing I want to share with you now that, you know, I haven't told many people this, but I've got a smart car. I know, I wasn't quite feeling right when I bought it, you know, it may be due to a history of mental illness, I don't know. But with a smart car, for some unknown reason, the tyres, and has anybody else found this for their cars? I bought 2 front tyres, brand new, and it was about 2 years ago, and they were brand new. and I've done about 1,000 miles in the car. I don't do that much heavy mileage. And on the last MOT, which was last August, the bloke said, so that would have been sort of, he said, well, he said, they're crazing around the side edges of the tyres. The actual treads, the tyres were basically breaking down. I couldn't believe it. And there's, oodles of tread on the tyre, but they're all cracking down the edges. I thought, this is bonkers. And the tyres on my Toyota, because it's only done about 44,000 miles, they're the originals. And then, so they're about, what was it? It was built in 1989. So they're quite a few years old. So how comes these tyres on the smart car are only lasting, 2 to 3 years? So I looked around at the prices, and you're talking about over 100 notes per tyre. Because the tyres on a smart car, they're different ones on the front to the back. They've got thick tyres on the back and thin tyres on the front, you see. And it's the thin ones that seem to go craze and that. So I went to this place, I was recommended to go to this tyre place near where I live. And they do part worn. So I thought, well, sod that. It's the first time in my life I haven't bought new tyres. Anyway, I said to the fella, how much? And he said, 70 quid, you see. So I said, what, each? He said, no, for the two. And that includes fitting and balancing. What? 70 quid? It's 35 quid each. And they're like new. I couldn't believe what a bargain I got. I went along there, and next time in fact, I'll show, I'll give them a plug on the Telegram. I haven't got the details in front of me now. But I'll give them a plug on Telegram and also Facebook. That's, of course, if you're from my area, because I was really, really impressed with the service I got. He not only, there's two fellas, they jack the car up, off come the wheels. It was like, when you see these racing cars in the pits, it was that far, but they're very thorough what they do. They change the tyres around, then they not only check them in a large container of water to see if there's any problems with them. When they put the tyres on, they put the wheels on with these pneumatic drill things, and they generally over torque them. So when I get home, I have to get my torque wrench out and re-torque the wheel nuts. Oh no, they're doing them at low torque, and then they finish off by hand with a torque wrench with the correct torque. Check them. Bloody brilliant. Absolutely incredible. And I'm well pleased with these tyres. 35 quid each. And I mean, all right, if they last 2 years, I'm not that worried. Because the other ones, which I paid over 100 for each, so I'm talking about 200 quid odd, I think I'll buy part worn again, because my mileage is not particularly heavy in the smart car, because you can't really do a distance with smart cars. When I say long distance, 20 miles is about the furthest you can go, because they're really like a motorbike with a car body. They're a bit noisy, they're not that comfortable, but they're fine for just short journeys, and that's why I've got it, in many ways. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. If anybody's interested, I'll send them. It's a place, what was it, Theobald's? That's where it was, where I actually got the tyres. Bloody marvellous. And one of the best tyre places I've ever been to. And it's the chap was very softly spoken, quite educated fellow, and he sort of said, okay, right, but they got it off to a fine art. You drive in, bang, crash, wallet. I mean, they did it in about less than 10 minutes, but it's not rushed. That's the thing. Everything is done, all, experience, and what it is. They jacked it up, the jacking points correctly. They did everything correctly. Absolutely, as I say, that's it. Now, the other thing I was going to say is go on to ghosts and ghoulies. No, ghouls, I think it is, not ghoulies. And spirits and things like that. Now, this reminds me, I mean, I have seen a ghost. And as for UFOs, I've seen 2.5, I'd say, UFOs. The first one I saw was when I was about 10 or 11 years old. That was in Enfield in Middlesex or North London. And that was witnessed by thousands of people. And I was with my parents, and it was a Saturday. And I know it's a Saturday because I was sitting in the back of the car with my sister, and it's quite an amazing day because it's about the first day I'd ever sat next to my sister without arguing with her. So yes, I do remember that day quite well, because my sister and I like chalk and cheese. I haven't seen her for 13 years, but that's another cool story. But anyway, I was sitting there, and as we drove into Enfield town, there's loads of people all sort of going, looking up in the sky. And it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And in those days, shops used to shut promptly at 5:30 or 5 o'clock, you see. And cars had actually stopped because it was like a one-way system. Still the same today. They stopped in the middle of the road, and there's people looking. And there's these 3 lights in the sky shooting across like this, and then stopped. And then shooting across and going all weird, and then stopped. And it looked like some sort of intelligent being or something up in the sky. It was most weird. And the dad stopped the car. We get out of the car, we was watching it, and eventually it's going on this. After about half an hour or so, we had to get home and have our tea. Got in the car and drove home. And next day on the radio, they said that in North London and in Middlesex, in parts of Hertfordshire, the switchboards have been jammed by the local police. People phoning the police and local authorities and that, seeing lights in the sky. But there's nothing to be worried about. It was American Air Force planes refueling. Bullshit. Then, later on in the local newspaper, it said it was searchlights as a civil defence exercise. More bullshit. Because my parents had been through the war and they knew what searchlights looked like, and these were no searchlights. But apparently this event has actually is quite famous. And as I say, I was very young at the time, but I remember it. And the second time I saw, I've seen lights in the sky, which I'm not sure whether it was a UFO or not. I was saying good night to my girlfriend. We were saying, good night, my dear, very English like that, shaking hands with her, of course, wouldn't dream of snogging, it's indecent, isn't it? Anyway, I was saying good night, and as I looked up, as you do, sort of like this, could have been that way, there was this light that went and stopped. Now, it could have been a shooting star. Don't think so. I've seen loads of shooting stars. No. It wasn't a meteor burning up. No. This was like an object that went across, split second, stopped, and then disappeared. So whatever it was, I don't know. And I've seen that sort of twice. So I say 2.5. I suppose you could say 1 and 2 halves of UFOs. But as for hauntings and things like that, something I've never quite understood is that if the prehistoric monsters existed, why don't we see the ghosts of prehistoric monsters? Why aren't you sitting in your house and you go and it was the ghost of a Tyrannosaurus T-Rex walking around, or things like that. Although some people have actually photographed what looked like prehistoric monsters, I question whether prehistoric monsters actually did exist. I really do. I think a lot of it is a lot of bullshit, to be straight with you, because these bones they've got in museums, a lot of them are man-made. Now we've got here, and where are we? Christopher, do you know what? That's a good way to keep. Oh, that was I've already read that one, haven't I? Silly bugger, silly sod. Where am I? I've lost myself again. There we are. Stig. Hi, camera. BMW. I beg your pardon. BMW you as well. Hang on. No. I am wearing underarm deodorant, so don't worry. It's not BMW. Now, Holly, yes, the bones are made in a Chinese factory. Yes, because it's when I was ever so young when I went to the British Museum, and I don't think, if I can remember rightly, I don't think you can go and see the bones of these so-called dinosaurs up close. I think you can only see them from a distance. And they're bits of if I remember right, they're bits of wire sort of pegging them together. Oh, really? Now it says, now this is answer. Hello, Aunt Sally. Read the tyres. I've had this happen on my little Ford Fiesta. The mechanic explained to me that it's because I don't do enough mileage in it, and tyres degrade if they are not worked. That's interesting. You can actually buy a spray which preserves them. But what I do, I ask for the tyres, to keep the tyres. And you're thinking, he really is a bit strange, this fella. Yes. Aha. And what I do, if you look around the rim, you know the bit where the tread comes to an end and you've got the rim that goes down? Well, there's a part which is very thin. And if you get an electric saw, as I do, and go round the edge and cut the rim off, I hasten to add, this is why when the tyre is off your car and you don't no longer have any use for it, and then go round the other side. With a little trick, I can actually turn the tyre inside out, and they make fantastic planters. Now, somebody did say that they're full of toxins. I thought of that. So what I do, I put a bin bag round, stop any toxins leaking through. But when you look at the planter, you look at it, it looks like a very posh planter. Plus, it gets very hot in hot weather. It warms the soil up. So in the winter, so about February, March, when you come into spring and you want a raised bed to get warmer, it warms it up. It's very efficient as well. And you can also make a solar cooker out of old tyres as well. I'll be going into that on a survival show on how to make a solar cooker. So, and yes, it's surprising what you can do with old tyres. But no, seriously, you know, you look at this, because you don't see any tread, you just see a sort of round black boulders. It really is an attractive planter. And if you plant plants in there that you're not going to eat, then yeah, it's fine, you know. That's right. Camera says tyres make good planters. That's right. But turning them inside out, there's a technique to it. And I've learned the technique the hard way, because I spent about half an hour wrestling with the bloody thing, first of all. But if you use G-clamps and lumps of wood, you can switch them around back to front. The thinner tyres are easier to do than the fatter ones. But you can also, if you can see these on YouTube, you see there's plenty of people doing it with a knife. No, unless you've been doing it for years. I use an electric saw. And then I use an angle grinder to go through the steel if I cut the tyres down the other way as well. So, you know, if I cut them through, because you've got to go through steel band. But that was quite interesting what Aunt Sally said, though, about if you don't use them so much, they do deteriorate. That's interesting. It says, I believe the factory in China is open to public. This is where they make dinosaur bones. Very famous, apparently. Can't remember the name of it. I suppose you make no bones about it, but you can look it up and it is there. Yes, very good point. Very good point there. Yes, and now about trumping in his famous trousers. It's when there is trouble at the circus, they send out the clowns to keep the audience occupied. Yes. Now, this is another one. Hereditous Getfoot says, Katie got shot, Trump went to Wimbledon, and England won the World Cup. I must stop drinking my own Kool-Aid. And we got Donald Trump, his real name, don't forget. Donald Trump. Well, I know that there was a bloke in the American Senate, I think, called Bumgardner. Seriously, his name was Bumgardner. That means what? He's a bad gardener, I suppose. I don't know. Right, Chris, take your time reading this comment. Begonia and begonia are two different words. Well, I told you I'm getting my worms in a mucking fuddle tonight. Yes, I'm slightly dyslexic, I think. You heard about the dyslexic pimp that's bought a warehouse, didn't you? Begonia and Begonia and Begonia. Oh, I didn't know that. See, it's like when you put the twice, the cat's sat on the mat. If you put two D's, people don't notice the second D because your mind skips and does that. Yes, I think I got away with it. And we got here. Nathan says, seems you have perpetual chemtrail winter as well. Huh? Yeah. I mean, at the moment it is. I wouldn't say it's pitch. It's pitch black outside, and it's what just gone 9. Yeah, it'd normally be this dark, Now, Nathan says, actually, in terms of the paranormal stuff, mate, I've been attacked by demons seriously 3 times in the last 2 years. So have I. And that's something I'd like to really go into. I think that, this is a good one, Hatchy. Chitting, gosh, it's all coming out. Toilet rolls. Yes, well, I got the toilet roll because I was chitting my potatoes, you see. And they said you need a toilet roll for. I said I was a bit dyslexic. Was it chitting? No, it says here, evening folks, just got back from walking the dogs and got soaked through. Oh, no, it's bloody terrible. It's weird, isn't it? It really is weird, Now, it says here, must be prepping for the commie takeover, Chris, with the red cars. That's a point, yes. I'll have to say, hello, comrades, got the red cars, yes. But it's funny because I've hoped to do another survival show with Steve, and I've bought myself a pocket stove. See, I make my own stoves out of 2 Coke cans, in which Chris the gardener almost had heart failure when he saw me with a Stanley knife cutting one live on here. But no, you can buy. Well, they started off in Germany, these pocket stoves, and in the 1930s, and the German army liked them so much they actually bought up a load. And I'll be going on a future show on how to make the solid fuel tablets that you use to heat different things, because they cost the earth if you can get hold of them. They're very difficult to obtain. You can get fire starters, but you can't get these solid, and they do cost a lot of money. But I found a way you can do it, being a tight-fisted get, very, very cheaply, so you can have a cup of tea. Because my attitude is, I think we're gonna have power out of this. I think that's coming, and it'll probably be middle of winter. Well, if you're frozen up your bum, you want some warm liquid inside you, and these little stoves, it's not advisable to use them indoors unless you open a window. You can at least, give yourself a nice hot cup of coffee or hot tea or something like that. Hot beverage. That's really, what I think you need, and it also makes you feel better. So, and you can do soup. You can fry eggs on these things, and the official little heating blocks that you buy last about 10 minutes. The one I make said to last 20 minutes and cost pennies. So stay tuned. I'm going to be doing that soon, Now, what we got here. Now, the other thing I was going to talk about, you see, as I say, Send in the Clowns. Remember that song? Yes, I do. Yes. And I love the clown, and circus analogy works beautifully. Yes. But do you find clowns creepy? I used to be scared shitless of clowns. And especially the ones with the white makeup, the pointed hats. I find them bloody creepy. Terrifying. I was actually, many years ago, I was sitting outside a supermarket, as you do, and there was some bloke dressed up as a clown, and a car drew up. The wheels had hardly stopped. The door was open, and a kid just went boom straight over to this clown and wouldn't leave this clown alone. That kid is the type of kid that's going to get attacked because it has no fear. Because fear is sometimes a good thing. And even now, I saw someone coming towards me dressed in a clown outfit across the road. I think, don't like this. Is there other people that find clowns creepy? I don't find them funny either. Because I'm probably a miserable sod. But it says here, Trex, a ship that was golden and crimsoned shadowed out all of the moon. Did you really? But no, back to creepy things, UFOs and ghosts. Now, I think with spirits, I won't go too deeply into it because I'll wait until we have a program with guests and that. I have had experience with nasty things. I won't say things that go bump in the night, but I do believe there are entities, and I do believe people can be taken over by these entities. And when someone is seriously ill, for example, they sometimes change their entire personality and become really like demonic. And I've witnessed that. And I've also witnessed how a person can be two personalities in one. That is quite frightening as well. That's for a future show. Anyway, this is a rather short show tonight, short show, because I'm doing it off the cuff, because the guests I was thinking thought was going to come on, haven't come on yet, but or actually they couldn't make it. So what I was going to say is Dawn Lester should be on a future show. I'm just waiting for confirmation, but she's sort of penciled in. We also got the bowler hat farmer, and of course Ben and Nathan and Steve, and I'm hoping to also get John Hamer back on. I'll be seeing him tomorrow night, all being well. And again, I'll give it another plug if you're around. It's at the Red Lion. It's a Red Lion pub. If you go through Stansted Abbots, which is in Hertfordshire, you go through and it's just at the end of the high street. It's pretty easy. They've got a car park at the back of the place as well. I'll be there about 7ish, and I'm not doing any speaker or anything like that. I'll be sort of sitting at the back, and I'll be meeting John Hamer, who will be giving a talk. So if you'd like to come along and meet John Hamer and hear me cracking the dirty vicar joke, no, I won't be. In fact, I'm with crowds. I'm usually very introvert, so I'll probably be the bloke at the back, sort of with his drink, very, very quiet. So if you're around tomorrow, it'd be nice to see you. And here it is. And you don't have to book between you and I. Apparently, it's in a marquee there, and you just pay on the night. And as long as if you could have the exact money, that would be fine. And I contacted Josie. She's fine with that. So I think she just wants to know how many people are coming along. But I looked at the weather forecast. I don't think it's going to rain tomorrow night, so it should be quite a good evening. There he is. So thank you very much. And it just leaves me to say thank you, everybody. It's a short show tonight, but I've done this on the cuff. I expected to have guests on, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Remember, next Sunday, I'm on Rumble. My Rumble channel is normally radio. We did video last night. And we're going to be talking about Freemasonry and Freemasons. And I hasten to add, I'm not one. I'd never join anything like that. I wouldn't, and it doesn't interest me at all. But it's something I've looked into, and it's very interesting. What's this? Hereditary Skepfoot says fire, water, and shot in the distilling burns well. Oh, that's it. But sends you blind if drunk. The demon drink. I've got a cheeky imp on my monkey shoulder. Have you really? Well, we've all got our problems. And thank you very much for joining me tonight. And as I am waffling here, I'm trying to find the outro. I've been in touch with Deb. She's fine. She's got 2 kittens, so a bit mischievous, I think. So she's looking after them. And so thank you for joining me. And sorry, it's a bit off the cuff. And so I'll be tomorrow night. I'll be in Stanstead Abbots. And well, hopefully be in Stanstead Abbots if the tyres on my car will get me there. And next Sunday, 8 o'clock on my Rumble channel, not on YouTube, it's only on Rumble. We'll be doing a show next Sunday, and we're going to be talking about Freemasons and we're going into it quite deeply, you know. So remember, roll up your trouser leg and show your tit and all that sort of stuff, you know. I don't know, but I know someone, I don't know whether I scratched my bum at the wrong time or what it was, but someone gave me a Masonic handshake once. He sort of tapped my wrist or something. So hello. But anyway, we'll be talking about that. It's a subject that it could cause people to get a bit hot under the collar, I think, you know. But personally, I've got no time for secret organisations and things like that. But that's my personal view. Anyway, thanks for joining us. And oh, by the way, a quick hello to John in Siam. Thanks for your comments, mate, in BitChute. And as I say, I hope the weather's bloody sight better than what it is over here. So good night, everyone. And remember, whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh.